Hello everyone! During May each year, our family-owned business hosts many area school field trips. But unfortunately, this year is different. We decided that since you boys and girls couldn't come to the cave, that we would bring the cave to you. Welcome to beautiful Smallin Civil War Cave. The very first people came to Smallin Civil War Cave long ago, probably right after the last ice age. But Smallin Cave was here long before that. It all began with an ocean. Long ago, scientists believed that much of what is now the United States was submerged beneath the waters of an ancient, shallow ocean. The floor of that old ocean, which was named the Kaskaskia Sea, was made up of the layers of sediment and the shells and bodies of small sea life. Over the centuries, layer deposited on top of layer at the bottom of that ocean, and eventually the water dried up and was gone. Flat layers of soft limestone were formed, calcium carbonate. A period of movement known as the Ozarks uplift occurred. The limestone fractured. The Ozark Mountains were born. Over time, the acidic water trickling through the cracks formed Missouri's amazing caves. Smallin Cave was formed by an ancient stream flowing from the north and from water flowing in from a bedding plane on both sides of the cave. Our big cave has been mapped to a mile. The huge entrance is 55 feet high and 10 stories wide. It is the largest known entrance of any commercial cave in the state of Missouri. And people have always loved Smallin Cave. The most recent of the major tribes of Native Americans to have inhabited the cave area was the Osage. It was said of the Osage that they often stood between 6 and 7 feet tall. Osage warriors often wore their hair in a mohawk type of hairstyle known as a scalp lock. Charcoal, paint, and ornate tattoos often decorated their bodies. And the immaculate plucking and trimming of facial hair, including eyebrows, was a common custom. The Osage were a deeply spiritual people, guided by God, who they called Wakanda, to live a long life filled with peaceful days. But despite their desire for peace and harmony, the Osage could be fierce when unannounced outsiders attempted to cross over and trespass in their territory. In the winter of 1818-1819, an explorer made his way through these Ozark Hills. Henry Rose Schoolcraft wrote a journal about his exploration of this part of the Louisiana Purchase, added to the U.S. in 1803. Traveling with his associate, Levi Pettibone, Schoolcraft's journal became the first documented account of the wild and rugged Ozarks territory of southern Missouri and northern Arkansas. Over 200 years ago, Schoolcraft, Pettibone, and a pair of guides followed the cave stream to the entrance of our cave. He named the cave Winoka, and he was so impressed by it that he wrote a whole chapter about our cave in his journal. One of the first known pioneer settlements on the cave property was by a family named Smallin in 1852. Jerry and Jane Stapp Smallin arrived by wagon train from Monroe County, Tennessee, and the cave was named after them. Others soon followed. The cave became a sort of community center, supplying fresh, cold water most of the year and serving as a campsite for the pioneers while their log cabins were being built. The fresh flow of water from the cave also made it a favorite local place for local ladies to do their laundry in those early days, with washboard and lye soap in hand. On warm summer Sunday afternoons, the cave became a favorite destination for pioneer picnics. Those early folks flocked to the cool, shady cave entrance for family fun, food, and social time with their neighbors. The much-needed relief from the summer heat was probably the highlight of their week. In the early 1960s, the cave was purchased by a lawyer and businessman from Chicago, Illinois. His name was Joseph Bolger. He was the very first person to build walkways and a gift shop and start giving cave tours at Smallin Cave. He renamed the cave Civil War Cave because of the local Civil War history. And speaking of Civil War history, we have a special treat for you today. Lieutenant John and the boys from Camp Brown in Ozark from 1862 are here with some great local Civil War information.
Hey folks, Lieutenant John here. We're here at Smallin Civil War Cave. We just want to share a little bit of the Civil War history with you. So come on with us and we'll go check out the cave together. Early in the Civil War, Union General Egbert Brown decided there should be a fort south of Springfield. So he ordered soldiers from the 14th Missouri State Militia Cavalry to build the fort. And he also got disloyal citizens that he captured by force to build that fort instead of going to prison. Now, the fort was called Camp Brown, and it was located on a hill in the small town of Ozark. Now, Camp Brown had a large two-story blockhouse that housed the soldiers and the horses. Around it, there was a 6-foot double log wall. Now, Camp Brown guarded the road to Springfield, but it was also used as a base of operations against bushwhackers and rebels. Now, we're convinced that some of those soldiers were in our cave, and here's why. Cool air. Camp Brown was built in the spring and summer of 1862. And I promise you ever had wool clothes on like those soldiers did, you'd be looking for a place to cool off. Our cave's about 60 degrees year-round. It's natural air conditioning. Hey, water. Water is fresh and clean and pure, just like it was 160 years ago. They would have been looking for a good source of water. Hiding place. We think that soldiers could have hid supplies from prying rebel eyes. In fact, we even found one of these. This is a 69 caliber bullet that was found in the cave. Maybe this is just one of those supplies that they hid from the rebels. We even have documentation of a Civil War spy. He hid in the front of the cave and he would lure rebels in with food and drink. And once he got the information from those rebels, it was a short ride down to Camp Brown to tell them everything he knew. And finally, this limestone formation over here has hundreds of names on it. One of the names was a Sergeant William McCoy of the 14th Missouri State Militia, right down there at Camp Brown.
Well, thank you, Lieutenant John, for sharing a little bit about our Civil War history. Those signatures that John talked about, William McCoy, that's just one of many. The pioneers, the settlers, the Civil War soldiers, Osage, Caddo Bluff dwellers, there's marks all over that formation from everybody that's been here. Remember that everybody wants to be from the Ozarks. Yeah, all you got to do is watch an old Western, a frontier movie, a Civil War show, or read an old book, and you'll find the characters from the Ozarks are the ones that are romanticized. The bushwhackers, jayhawkers, redlegs, carpetbaggers. You can't even have a gunfight in the Old West without starting right up here on the square in Springfield with a, well, let's just say Tip Smallin's acquaintance, Wild Bill Hickok, that gunfight. There's a lot of ties to the cave with that as well. Well, let's go ahead and send it back to Lieutenant John. He wants to share a little about the equipment, and I heard he might even fire a musket for us today.
Hi folks, Private John here, and today I want to show you a little bit about the arms and equipment of the Civil War. William, how old are you?
I'm 12.
Believe it or not, folks, they had kids as young as 12 years old to be musicians and stretcher bearers. Now, William, show us a little bit about your drum.
Okay. And what they do is they play certain rhythms to keep the soldiers in rhythm. One of the rhythms they would have played is this.
This flag has 34 stars on it because that's how many stars there were in the Union at that time. In fact, the 34th star was the star for Kansas. Now we have with us Matthew, who's our flag bearer. There you go. And they would have put it right in this little pocket right here. Now this is a replica of an 1861 Springfield rifled musket. This musket weighs about 11 pounds. It's about 4.5 feet tall, and believe me, it's very heavy. Now here's what they would have had to gone through when they loaded. They would have put the gun down by their foot like this, facing the barrel out. They would have taken a cartridge out of their cartridge box, tear it with their mouth, poured the powder down in, poured the bullet. I'm not going to put a bullet for obvious reasons. They would have taken out the ramrod, and they would have rammed the bullet down, taken the ramrod back out, put it back on the gun. They would have taken it and put it to half cock with a cap from their cap pouch, and they would have been ready to shoot. Now I want to give you an idea just exactly how loud these guns were and how much smoke they produced. The captain would have gone ready, aim, fire. Here's an example of Union soldiers on the march. Forward march!
Boys and girls, teachers, everybody watching, thank you so much for coming today and coming to our virtual cave tour. First time we've ever done this. What do you think, Kevin?
Well, it was new. I like people. I like people in person. That's my favorite. I really miss the folks.
You bet. We sure did miss you folks this year, this spring. Hopefully we'll see you this summer. Kids, bring Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, bring the whole family. Come back and visit us here at the cave.